The Trump administration said it would immediately lift its suspension of military aid to Ukraine and its intelligence sharing with Kyiv. The decision comes more than a week after the measures were imposed to push Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to enter talks to end the war with invading Russian forces. The announcement came after talks between Ukraine and the United States took place in Saudi Arabia today. Ukraine also said it was open to a 30-day ceasefire in the war with Russia, subject to Kremlin agreement.
Today, we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation. We'll take this offer now to the Russians, and we hope that they'll say yes, to peace. The ball is now in their court.
Ukraine's move today is contingent on Russia also stopping attacks. It comes after a team of Ukrainian officials met a U.S. team in Saudi Arabia to seek grounds for possible peace talks in the three-year-old war, and as Russian forces try to encircle thousands of Ukrainian soldiers in the western Russian region of Kursk.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy posted a video on X saying his country is ready to accept the proposal, but now it's up to the U.S. to convince Russia to do the same.
Hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. We can get this horrible war where 2,000-3,000 soldiers a week, every week, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes. I get the reports, and they're not American soldiers. They're Ukrainian and they're Russian.
Is Zelenskyy invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
President Donald Trump adding that the U.S. will be meeting with Russia today and tomorrow. Prior to the meeting, the head of Ukraine's presidential office said they want peace.
We're ready to do everything to achieve the peace.
Would you still be asking for a security guarantee from the Americans?
Yes, of course, security guarantees. It's very important because we want that never this aggression never repeated in the future again.
U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz said besides immediate steps, the talks address details on how this war is going to permanently end and what type of guarantees they're going to have for their long-term security and prosperity. The Trump administration also agreed to end what had been a week-long suspension of military aid to Ukraine immediately.
The Ukrainian delegation today made something very clear, that they share President Trump's vision for peace. They share his determination to end the fighting, to end the killing, to end the tragic kind of meat grinder of people and national treasure that's happening on the front in Ukraine.
NATO's Secretary General said he would be cautiously optimistic about the outcome of the peace talks.
There might be many ways in which this process will evolve. It's so difficult to predict, including what the security guarantees would look like. Might they be needed in case there would be a peace deal?
I have to say, if one is slightly cynical, and we deserve to be cynical when it talks to Russia and holding to agreements, any pause could, of course, give them time to regroup. And then we also don't know behind-the-scenes deals. What will Mr. Trump offer to Russia to not only bring them back to the table, but to cease fire and talk to the Ukrainians about peace?
The proposal comes after Ukraine launched its biggest drone attack on the Russian capital today, with at least 91 drones targeting Moscow, killing at least 3 people, injuring many others, sparking fires, closing airports, and forcing dozens of flights to be diverted, according to Russian officials. A local resident saying there was a strong explosion around 5 in the morning, and everyone woke up to see what happened, adding that many more drones were flying to the center of Moscow, about 6 or 7 of them getting further and further. After that, she noticed that a window in their kitchen was broken. Meanwhile, Russian forces attacked Ukraine with a ballistic missile and 126 drones, setting a fuel storage facility on fire and injuring at least 2 people in different parts of the country, according to Ukrainian officials. Now, with the new proposal, what the future holds for the two countries, we'll have to wait and see. President Trump has called on Republicans to primary Rep. Thomas Massie. Massie, the hardline conservative from Kentucky, has raised Trump's ire by opposing a Republican push for a spending bill that would avoid a partial government shutdown and keep federal agencies funded through September. Last night, Trump went after Massie on social media, calling him a grandstander who's too much trouble, adding he should be primaried and I will lead the charge against him. Massie said he opposed the short-term spending bill because it maintains federal funding without considering budget cuts that reflect the waste, fraud, and abuse in government spending DOGE has uncovered. Massie took to X, writing, "Someone thinks they can control my voting card by threatening my re-election. Guess what? Doesn't work on me."